Getting a job at a venture fund as an intern can be one of the best ways to build a relationship with venture investors early on. Now, this video is definitely geared more towards people that are in the internship pursuit. So this is going to be people in college, people maybe in a master's degree program that are looking for internships. As someone who runs a fund that's really geared towards helping students gain the skills and experience necessary to succeed as venture investors or to operate in the world of high finance, generally speaking, I thought it might be helpful to talk about some of the things that we look for in interns. Over the course of my career over the last 15 years, I've had the opportunity to review thousands of resumes. I've probably interviewed over 3,000 candidates and personally mentored hundreds of students as they've gone on to land successful careers and jobs at some of the most prestigious firms in the world. So with today's video, the advice is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to talk about things that are related to getting an internship at a venture fund, not necessarily a job at a venture fund. That being said, I think these same basic attributes will hold true no matter what kind of internship you're applying for, and also represent the foundation on which you want to build for whatever job it is you want to get. When people ask me, and I get this question all the time, what does University Growth Fund look for in its applicants? I respond by saying we look for three things. We look for people that are passionate, people that are smart, and people that are great team players. Let's dive into each one. So the first one is people that are passionate. Now, when I think about interns, I'm thinking internships are there to solve the problem of you have to have experience to get a job to get experience problem that so many people face, right? And so when I'm looking for candidates, I'm not looking for people that bring a ton of experience. But what I am looking for is signs of passion and desire to do what it is we do at our firm. Because I can't, it's like that old saying, I can take the horse to water, but I can't force it to drink, right? Same thing happens with an intern. I could have an intern come in and I can give them all these opportunities and exposure and training and so on and so forth. But if they don't take advantage of them, they're not going to get the most out of it. And frankly, I'm not going to get the most out of them because they're not going to enjoy the work. They're not going to be productive. They're not going to do a good job. So what does that mean for applicants? That means if you're applying for a job in finance, go get as much experience as you can in finance. Even if it's I grabbed coffee for this guy who's a wealth manager, do that. If it's, hey, I opened up a lemonade stand because I want to be an entrepreneur. I mowed lawns and I built my own lawn mowing business. If you want to work as in a startup or you want to work in venture, anything that you can demonstrate that is related to what we do and that you chose to do that over maybe flipping burgers at McDonald's, right? If you can demonstrate that you have taken advantage and made sacrifices to get opportunities that at least were even tangentially related, that's going to show passion. The other thing that's going to show passion is when you write your cover letter, talking about different things that you're seeing in the industry that you're excited about, or during the interview process, asking questions of the interviewer that demonstrate your deep knowledge about the space, or at a minimum, your intellectual curiosity about it, right? That only comes if you are doing what you should, which is listening to podcasts, reading books, staying current on the news, and really developing a knowledge based on your passion for that particular space. In our firm, I look for people that can, my ideal is somebody that comes in and says, hey, I really think it's cool you invested in this company, and here's the reasons why, I think that company is really cool. But I'm really curious, why did you invest in this other one? Or, hey, this new company just got funded. What do you think of that? For example, we had this one woman who, when I was doing this information session at her college, she raised her hand and was like, hey, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on this direct listing with Spotify that's coming up? And she asked some more kind of poignant questions about it. And I was really impressed because she had taken the time to understand that we were an investor in Spotify. She was reading the news on her own and understood that this direct listing thing was a unique thing that never really happened before. And she had some really interesting questions about it. to me, that indicated like, hey, this is somebody that's actually passionate about the space. And sure enough, like she came in, she did a great job while she was at our firm. She ended up sourcing a deal that we ended up investing in, and today works at a venture fund straight out of her undergrad. Being able to demonstrate that passion is key. The next thing we look for is people that are smart. The reason for that is because the learning curve never really plateaus in venture investing. In fact, if it plateaus for you, you probably are missing something and are probably very quickly becoming irrelevant. I mean, think about it. Like venture investing is all about investing in the next great big thing, innovation, technology, business model, like individual. And so you have to constantly be learning, right? Everything that made investors great at marketplace investing 10 years ago when like Uber and Lyft and Airbnb launched is almost irrelevant when evaluating AI startups today. And if you have not evolved and learned how to adjust your investing approach for the new paradigms of today, like you will get left behind. And so as tough as it is, like venture investors, like we are looking for people that can get up learning curves quickly, because every new deal you look at is going to have a unique aspect to it. And if it doesn't, it's probably not that compelling of an investment opportunity, frankly, or have the ability to be truly disruptive. So what does this mean? There are a lot of ways in which you can be smart and to demonstrate your intelligence. Sometimes it is like pure book smarts, right? I know funds that have gone out and hired people that are PhDs simply because they have gotten a PhD in a field that is relevant to what that venture fund invests in, and they want that raw intelligence. I've seen other individuals who have been able to demonstrate that they are incredibly street smart, and that has given them like a huge edge. I know other people that are super creative. I probably fall more in that bucket. I'm not particularly good at like mental math or weird puzzles, but I am really creative in other ways. I can find unique ways to create win-win-win solutions for people. And I can typically see what the future will hold and how things will evolve and develop. And that's been incredibly helpful when making investments. And then I just love strategy. And so being able to assess like business strategies of different companies is, a skill that I feel like I've developed over time. Whatever it is, you need to figure out like what is the thing that you can offer that demonstrates like high intellectual horsepower, typically innate intellectual curiosity, and an ability to learn quickly and offer something unique when making investments. The last thing we look for is people that work well in teams. And to be honest, like part of the reason for that is that everything we do within our firm is team-based. So when we're evaluating a deal, we'll staff a team of like 5 to 6 to evaluate that particular investment opportunity. And so the team needs to kind of gel so that they can come to the conclusion of like whether or not we should do this deal, and if we should, like coalesce around a solid investment thesis based on their due diligence and work. But the same holds true in venture in general. So it's said that venture capital is very much a people game. It's a lot of networking, building relationships, building trust that ultimately decides whether or not you succeed in this game. For example, if you can build trust with a great entrepreneur, they will bring you into their company and want to partner with you. And that can be like crazy important, because the reality is, venture investing is a little bit like dating. The person that's more attractive holds more of the cards. And as a venture investor, you want to be dating the most attractive companies, right, out there, the ones that have the greatest likelihood to succeed. And to do that, you have to build trust with the entrepreneur that you're going to be a good partner, which means you need to be a good team player, if that makes sense. The other thing is these venture funds are typically small teams making very big multi-million-dollar decisions, and even more importantly, shooting for like outsized returns, right? If you've seen some of my other videos where I talk about venture returns and what they can look like, you want to be on a team that can invest in the early stages of Uber and turn $12 million into $9 billion. Right? That requires like very strong cohesive teams to be able to pull that off. So what does that mean? That means that like you're not the dead weight on the team. I think we all have been on teams, right? And for school projects or sports or whatever it might be, where somebody on the team just kind of socially loafs. They don't really pull their weight. They just kind of rely on others to do the hard work for them. you don't want to be that person. And if you can demonstrate that you're not that kind of person, but rather you're the kind of person that encourages other people on the team and really helps them see their full potential, you're going to be in a much better position to be able to land that job at a venture fund, especially as an intern. And one of the things that I really value in good team players is the people that are proactive. They raise their hand and they say, how can I help? And if there's not anything obvious for them to do to help, they find ways to help without having to raise their hand, right? They observe, they see where the problems are, and they jump in and start adding value without even having to be asked. If you can demonstrate that through the application process, it'll really help you land that internship. But even more importantly, if you can do it through the process, you'll be able to build a really deep relationship with your coworkers that will yield benefits throughout the rest of your career. If this was helpful advice, please please subscribe, and then down in the comments, tell me about the firm, the venture fund or investment bank or private equity firm that you would absolutely die to intern with. And I'll respond with some of my top tips on how to get that internship with that specific firm, because there's a pretty good chance that I know them or I'm at a minimum familiar with them. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out some of my other videos, like my new WeFunder video where I'm interviewing the team from North Cove as they talk about their business and how it relates to their current WeFunder campaign. Thanks.